Being in a relationship is challenging, but worth it. As we allow ourselves to be intimate and vulnerable with another person, we develop dependency. Some people hear this word and think it's a bad thing. Well, we're different people and we should have our own separate lives. Being in a relationship doesn't mean you aren't allowed to have privacy or things of your own. As our connection deepens, our emotional framework forms strength and security with our partner. We know that there's a safe place to be vulnerable, to share our thoughts, and we become one emotional unit. If my partner is stressed out, because her and her emotional well-being is important to me, it's my responsibility to support her. I know the words to say, like, everything will be okay, and I know that the physical affection will help her return to a calm state. It's emotional labor, and it takes work from me, but I receive the same security and strength in return from her when I need it. With codependency, our brains adapt in such a way that we rely on our partners to get our needs met. This is the reason why breakups are so difficult. When we've come to rely on the support system that gives us love in the different ways that we like it, and then have it suddenly removed, our brains have to learn and adapt to our new circumstances. Oftentimes, a breakup is accompanied with, "I can't talk to you," or "I need to cut you out of my life right now," because if we allow communication to continue, we'll never actually process the emotion and will inevitably end up back together with a person who we deemed incompatible. A healthy couple has two sets of needs, boundaries, and wants. Healthy communication is required to make sure that the needs are always met, the boundaries are respected, and the wants come afterwards. I want to go on a 4-day bike trip, but my partner needs me to be home and support them after an upcoming engagement. If my partner says it's a need for me to be here after their engagement, I don't go on the 4-day bike trip because the needs are non-negotiable. Compromise is essential in every relationship because needs overlap with wants. It is my responsibility to manage my disappointment in a healthy way and to also respect that her needs come before my wants. I don't try to persuade her to change her mind because that's invalidating. Perhaps I postpone the trip or plan a shorter 2-day trip. We must learn to empathize because our needs are different and sometimes hard to understand. But living a day in my partner's body and mind is very different from my own, and we have to trust that we both know ourselves well enough to ask that we support each other when our needs come up. It's never okay to gaslight someone, meaning to manipulate them, to have them question their own sanity. To say, "You're too emotional, you should be able to handle this by yourself, you're just imagining things," is not understanding that we perceive the world in different ways. The things that cause each of us emotional stress are different and likely don't trigger each other, so we must trust that when our partner asks us to compromise, it's because they understand what is required to get their own needs met. One of the biggest plagues to unhealthy relationships is sulking, being visibly upset and not communicating why. We think our emotion is so obvious that our partner should be able to instinctively know what's wrong, but instead of just saying it, we act like children, hoping that they will apologize for something that they don't even realize was a problem. The simplest way to improve at vulnerability and connection is to use sentences like, "I feel blank when you do blank." If you feel hurt, you say, "I feel frustrated when you don't listen to me." "I feel loved when you organize dinner." Remember, words have profound effects on our mental health, and it's much more effective to use words that communicate emotion.